Smart 24, driving business.
Hub for all things pertaining to clean energy. Explore innovative solutions driving the clean energy transition as you learn from industry leaders shaping the future of renewable energy. Connect with like-minded professionals, organizations, and
Well, thank you very much, Permanent Secretary, and allow me just to start with one statement. For us, renewable energy means independence. That's how we see it. Egypt's strategy regarding renewable energy has been based on the principle of partnership rather than donorship. I see that from the panel here, we're the only developing transition country that is sitting addressing that issue, whereas most of my co-panelists are actually representing the donor community. And that gives me an advantage and also an opportunity to provide a different perspective. Now, as you know, in COP27, Egypt took on its shoulders the burden of advocating the priorities of the developing world, in particular Africa, when it came to a multitude of topics, including renewable energy. We had 12 initiatives on the table. One of them did relate to renewable energies. We had an initiative for what we call, let me technically get that because it's called Debt for Sustainable Development Initiative, where an alliance was created with the objective of actually moving away from the traditional donor-recipient formula to a model that we have implemented very successfully with Germany back in the 1990s, and that is a debt swap, where we have swapped our debt over the course of approximately 10 years in return for financing our renewable energy projects, which has yielded in one of the very successful projects in Egypt, which is the Zafarana wind farms. That is an expensive project. It's considered to be the biggest windmill or wind-powered farm in the Middle East, maybe in Africa, I'm not sure, but it is definitely in the Middle East. Now, as I said, renewable energy is independence. For Egypt, not just for Egypt, for Africa, it is time that we take the lead. It is time that we decide what the formula should be, whether in terms of the priorities of implementation or in terms of the mechanisms of finance. It is time that we think out of the box, and I'll just stop there. Maybe as the discussion goes further, I can elaborate on a couple of other points that I think are quite important. Thank you.
Your Excellency, and for emphasizing partnership vis-a-vis doership, we must enter win-win partnerships, and the fact that Africa should take the lead. And anyway, we're already blessed with enormous renewable energy potential. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll just do another round of discussion with the panel. I'll circle back to Mr. Smith. The British government has supported us enormously in deploying clean energy. We are working on the Get Fit project with yourselves, but also supporting deploying mini grids. We have partnerships under the Modern Energy Cooking Service under one of your key universities. There's a lot that you're doing in Uganda. And I know that you have vast experience having worked in Malawi and Ghana. Mr. Smith, I would want you to enable us appreciate what developing countries like ourselves or emerging economies like Uganda should be doing differently to advance this transition to a future of clean energy and greener economies. Mr. Smith, please.
Thanks, VS. Yeah, so I mean, I think the first point here is that many countries like Uganda are actually doing really well in expanding energy generation through renewable sources, as I mentioned earlier. What developing countries can do differently is to work on the enabling environment for the transition to clean energy. This is about robust policies, it's about transparent processes, about public support and the availability of modern energy transmission systems. These are all key to accelerating the uptake of renewables like wind and solar. What we can do as international partners and some of the colleagues on the panel is to support that, support policy reform, to catalyse private sector investments. And the UK has been doing that through companies like Gridworks. We have an e-cooking programme underway and we'll be exhibiting today. And we can provide technical assistance, as we have done to ERA and others, to make regulatory reforms for small-scale independent power producers to compete in this space. I think the challenges, I think we've mentioned some of those already, including wind and the lack of connectivity, especially to electricity grids. And I think as you mentioned Get Fit, as we saw through Get Fit, the challenges of attracting more generation. And I think Uganda really needs to look at transmission as well.
Thank you very much, Mr. Smith, and he has emphasized aspects of putting in place a robust enabling environment, and as the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, we are doing that. We've just concluded putting in place our new Electricity Amendment Act that is supposed to support the private sector invest across the value chain in the electricity supply industry. And Mr. Smith, I was reading an article by Your Excellency, your British High Commissioner, and she indicated that under the Modern Energy Cooking Services Program X, you have come up with a solution on e-cooking where Ugandans can cook beans for 45 minutes instead of 3 hours, and we can still cook matoke and have the same flavor. Just confirm that, Mr. Smith.
So I can confirm that personally, but if you want to really challenge, we have a guy here called Will Clements, who's in the audience, who will be manning a tent downstairs to talk about the pilot that we've been doing with Loughborough University. We really want to supercharge that. And yes, the ambition is to reduce the time of cooking dry beans from 3 hours to 45 minutes. You heard it here first.
Okay, so Ugandans, we look forward to enjoying matoke that has been cooked within the shortest time possible. We are moving on to Mr. Macbeth. The German government is doing quite a lot. And I see we're already working on further interventions on the e-mobility side and others. Would want to see your view, your advice to Uganda as an emerging economy on how best we should manage this transition. Mr. Macbeth, please.
Thank you very much, Permanent Secretary. I think Uganda is one of the finest examples in that transition and what you've done. Already you've got the policies in place. The professor was talking about education and awareness. People need to know why that transition should happen and what is in for them. I like the fast bean cooking arrangement. That is some of the benefits which people can reap. The professor was talking about his own history, that you had to go to school and do your homework in the dark, and all those things need to be made clear and discussed with the communities who are going to be the beneficiaries of it. So you've done that. I said something about the policies, and you need the right partners to do that. And if I look at my tag, if you look at your tag, you'll see there are so many partners which are going, you know, along with you on this journey to clean transition. So I should be asking you how other countries can be supported. But I would like to say something from a German perspective, because we've been partners for, I think, nearly 60 years. We are, as Germany, a very staunch advocate for the energy transition, with the tag of sustainability to it. And, you know, I don't want to bore you. You know what Germany does? It's usually knowledge transfer, technological exchange, and capacity building, and capacity building. And I hope you don't yawn, particularly you, Professor. It's about you just don't, it's not only about the equipment, but it's also maintaining it and building an economy. And it's not a goal in itself. It is also an opportunity to grow the economy, the personal economy for the beneficiaries, the economy of Uganda. And that's, I think, one of the investments which Germany will also continue in the future, that we have that link between the capacity building, the policies, and the investments which we do. For example, also in e-mobility. You know, I don't want to boast, but we've got this wonderful car, which, if you come to my office, which I invite you to, the GSX country office in Nakasero, you see that the car park is shaded with solar panels, permanent secretary, and I just plug in that car, and I have no fuel costs. Maybe you can hear that I'm from Scotland, so that's a very important aspect for me also, not to pay money for those things. So we will have a demonstration later on e-mobility, the electric bodas, but also together with our colleagues from the United Kingdom, decentralized energy solutions are very much at the heart of what Germany does. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we look forward to catalyze e-mobility and have many more Ugandans enjoy exactly what you are enjoying, Mr. Macbeth, in our partnership. Just moving on to Mr. Bagam quickly. As we prepare for COP28, but also starting the new year 2024, I would want to hear your advisory to developing economies. What should we expect in 2024? What trend do you see ahead of us? When we're going to COP26 in Glasgow, we were looking at a phase down or phase out. And then at COP28, the narrative changed. Looking forward, what do you see coming ahead of us post-COP28, Mr. Bagam?
Well, I sincerely hope that we will be able to continue having a joint ambitious agenda in the way forward, in spite of the geopolitical situation, which of course poses additional challenges for us to achieve our goals and to be even more ambitious. On behalf of my government, in terms of our commitments, we have a clear goal when it comes to try to mobilize our partners in achieving an ambitious result at the upcoming COP. We established recently in 2022 a new climate investment fund under Norfund, which is the Norwegian government's investment fund for developing countries. This fund, which we now are scaling up, building up, was set up to contribute to avoiding greenhouse gas emissions by investing in the renewable energy sector in developing countries. So for the coming 5 years, this fund will be capitalized with $200 million per year. And only during the first year of operations, Norfund made 6 major commitments for new investments in the sector. But we're just starting up. So these already signed deals include both large-scale solar, wind power plants, and by waste to energy. Then I think it's one more thing, or two more things I would highlight when it comes to my government policies on this, which again is related to the focus on renewable energy during the upcoming COP. It's also the importance of providing guarantees that reduce non-commercial risks related to foreign direct investments in renewable energy in developing countries. So in 2021, we set up another mechanism related to and linked up to the Climate Investment Fund. This is a fund which will provide this kind of guarantees. It's a $150 million US dollar fund, which will provide this kind of guarantees to reduce non-commercial risks related to investments in renewable energy, in particular in developing countries. We have signed one agreement now with the World Bank's Multilateral Investment Agency, and this first agreement amounts to $50 million US dollars. Then I would also like to mention, which is something we are very proud of from the Norwegian side, having worked on energy and renewable energy for so many years, in Uganda for 30 years, in other countries for more than that, much more than that. And it's that we are we are establishing a new program, a global program called Energy for Development, which is based on our experiences in different countries, among them in Uganda, where I think we have had a particularly fruitful relationship, as I said initially. And this will focus on renewable energy and especially energy access. So in these days we are finalizing which will be the partner countries, the main partner countries for this new global program. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that deserves a hand clap. So as the Minister of Energy and Mineral Development that benefited from the Oil for Development program, where you supported us enormously to launch our oil and gas project, we look forward to furthering our partnership by participating in the Energy for Development program. So I hope we are on the list of benefiting countries. Moving on to Mr. Guillermo, as we prepare to close the panel. In the past year or so, we have seen a lot of I would say a certain narrative on some of the projects that we do as a country, but also as a continent of Africa. And you coming from the European Union, I think you would be best placed to really help us appreciate the challenges or the barriers that hinder the global transition to clean energy, while of course looking at the geopolitics that we are all exposed to. Who better placed than the European Union to speak to this? Over to you, Mr. Guillermo, Team Europe.
Thank you, Madam Permanent Secretary. It's a difficult question, but I'm glad to address it. You know, as I was saying, I mean, the EU and its member states, I mean, have been trailblazers towards the transition for years. And when you are a pioneer, you must accept that there will be resistance, that you will face yourself difficulty in the path that you want to take. And if you want to have people joining you on this path, yes, there will be resistance. So you need to be able to address those. And I think in the past years, the discussion on the theme of transition has evolved, and has evolved in a positive way. And we've seen, thanks to the leadership of Egypt, yesterday at the COP27, voices from Africa, from the Middle East, being heard, offering solutions, being engaged in a constructive dialogue with others, and triggering change. I mean, when I think about the discussions within the Ministry of Finance to mainstream globally the question of energy transitions in all public policies all over the world, I mean, that's something that was triggered by the COP27. The evolution within the multinational development banks and the international financial institutions to address the concerns of the most vulnerable countries to be able to take the path of the transitions. Know that the resistance is not lack of willingness, but it's a call for more solidarity from the community of donors to allow the transitions to happen in all the countries, and in particular in the global south and in the most vulnerable countries. So this discussion is taking shape, and probably the COP28 will be a new step towards those aspects. As EU, I mean, we have put a global strategy, what we call the global gateway, to help our partners to take the path of these transitions. The overall amount of the global strategy is about 300 billion. 38% of it will be dedicated to climate change programs, with energy transition at the core of this program. You're asking earlier today the pledge that we will make at the COP28. Of course, I'm not in a position to deliver those pledges to you today, but our commissioner already said that it will be substantive, and it will be substantive notably to set up the funds that have been asked for many countries, the funds for loss and damages, to be able to bring again solidarity to face the challenges posed by climate change globally. So the EU will be making huge pledges on this, at others, as we mentioned earlier. But the way we see, our support to transitions is twofold. There is, of course, capacity building, transfer of technology, access to finance, and we have set up a lot of programs, including here in Uganda, to allow private sectors to access finance at structural level, at high level, for big projects above 500,000 euro, but also for mini-grid and smaller projects to be implemented more locally. So access to finance is important. Cooperation with the private sectors is critical. And private sector is not about access to finance. It's also setting the right regulation, providing incentive for investors abroad, skilling youth, women, girls who want to be part of the transition and be fit for purpose in terms of professional skills. So that's all those aspects that needs to be put in place. And Uganda is making its part, and we are proud partners of Uganda on that. I mean, we have invested in the last 5 years about 100 million euro for energy transition. With the regional envelope that we have and the coming program, we will be around 250 million euro. And that's involved, infrastructures. But again, as I was saying, strong engagement with the private sector and the institution of Uganda to make sure that the environment is conducive for investments and transition that delivers energy for all.
Thank you very much, and thank you for that investment of about 100 million euros in the past to support the energy transition, and we can't agree more. The transfer of technology and capacity building are very critical to support this energy transition. Finally, as we get to His Excellency Salim, I would want to understand from your point of view how we can improve regional collaboration to support a just energy transition. Are we doing it right as Uganda? Are there areas of improvement so that we can partner better. Your Excellency, please.
Thank you very much. Actually, I'd like to thank you for that question because it falls exactly within the core of the speech I had prepared, which I thought I was going to deliver, hence the confusion when we started. But let me answer your question with a question. Has Uganda identified its opportunities? That's what we did in order to embark on that trajectory 20 years ago. We identified our opportunities. Now, everybody can talk about solar energy and say how great it is, but is solar energy the renewable source that is fit for Uganda or for Kenya or for Tanzania? Or is it biomass? Or is it wind? That is the first question that for our regional cooperation, each one of us has to do their homework so that when we sit at the table, we know where we are coming from, we can identify where our commonalities are and how we can cooperate on it. Now, that brings me to the next issue, which is lessons learned. We have learned our lessons since 2002. We came up with new models for financing that we can share. We have identified and learned from our mistakes when it came to developing strategies. Let me give you an example. We wouldn't have went with the Benban solar power plant, which is the fourth largest in the world as it stands today, if it wasn't for the fact that we understood that in order to get there, we have to develop our distribution network. So it took us 20 years of systematic investment, no loans, no credits, purely done via our national budget to improve the capacity and expand the reach of our national distribution network. Once that was ready, we were able, in just 5 years' time, to build the fourth large solar power plant, which is producing right now approximately 3.8 terawatt hours per annum. As in, it has raised the input. In Egypt, we consume about 3.5 gigawatts per year. 1 gigawatt of which is coming from solar energy and wind, which is approximately 25% as I'm talking to you right now. Our aim in 2035 is to get to 42. But to get to 42, we had to work on changing the mindset. And that is one of the things that we share as African countries. We are living within a specific mindset. And that mindset is built upon fossil fuel. That mindset needs to change. Why am I saying that? Because renewable energy is not cheap. Now, for us to suddenly, as an Egyptian citizen right now, not an ambassador, to wake up in the morning and find that the cost of my electricity has increased twofolds in over 5 years. Part of it is because of the removal of subsidies, and part of it is because of reliance on renewable energy. I need to be in the right mindset to accept that as a citizen. If not, then there will be challenges. Now, that brings me to the last thing which we would need to work on, and that is then legislation. When you work on all of that, identify it, know how you're going to go about it, then the last thing you need to worry about is legislation. Because then you've created the enabling environment, and you would know what kind of legislation you would need. Our regional cooperation recently has been always focused on, oh, how did you come about integrating renewable energy into your legislation or economy? And then you just get a specific model that you try to import into your own context. That is not the way forward. We haven't done that. Yes, we took a look at what Norway did, what Germany did. We understood their enabling environment. And then we adapted to ours. And that's what regional cooperation should be all about. I shouldn't be telling you my success story. I should be helping you find your own success story. Learning from my mistakes and from my opportunities. Now, that brings me to the Busia project. That's an example of a bilateral, or if we can extend it a little bit to a regional cooperation. We started that project about 4 years ago. We had our challenges with Corona and everything else. However, it was supposed to be a 2-year project. Egypt didn't embark on renewable energy projects with African partners unless we were successful implementing our own model. When we were done with the BIM ban in 2019, then we came to Africa and said, we can be your regional partner because we have the know-how. We've done it on a large scale, we've financed it, we have engaged the private sector, and that's another model maybe that Africa can take a look at. It's a huge mega project, but we divided it into 41 micro projects. We've engaged over 50 partners, private sector and financiers, to get it done. Could it be implemented in Uganda? Yes, maybe no. You have to decide whether it works for you or not. We can help you find it out. Now for Busia, the choice of the location was not because we had some money that we wanted to throw into a renewable energy project and we decided on solar. No. The choice of the university was because they had an academic program, the location was ripe, the time was right, the efficiency of production after the technical studies was appropriate to the level that we were hoping for. And then this was our micro model together, cooperating as Egypt and Uganda, to replicate BIM ban. We just integrated, as you well know, the power plant into the national grid. We just completed it about, I think, a month ago. And it's operating perfectly right now. So for us, the next step in 2024 is for you as our partner to tell us where to go. We'll tell you how to do it from our perspective, but you need to tell us where to go, and we need to address the challenges that is within your enabling environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and I'm glad in a way the speech has been delivered. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we prepare to close the panel, I'll just wrap up what this esteemed panel has highlighted in this discussion and the view of our different development partners on a just and clean energy transition. What is coming out, we need to continue developing win-win partnerships. Win-win partnerships where together we work out the interventions that we need to deploy as partners. But also importantly, the need for us to continue strengthening the enabling environment through putting in place robust legislation, but also removing other barriers in terms of project authorizations to enable private sector investment. What has also come out is, of course, the need for us to continue working on aspects of accessing finance to support investment in renewable energy. And His Excellency did emphasize the fact that renewable energy is independence. So the more renewable energy we deploy, the more resilient our energy mix gets. So we look forward to continuing this conversation at COP28. And as the Minister of Energy, working with the Minister of Water and Environment, would want to invite all of you at COP28 at the launch of our energy transition plan on the 5th of December in Dubai. Ladies and gentlemen, a hand of applause for our panelists. And another hand of applause for our esteemed guests who have listened attentively. So with that, we close this panel and we will then prepare for the opening ceremony. Back to the MC. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause for our panelists. They have touched base on something very, very crucial to Ugandans, and that's matoke. Matoke is our staple food here in Uganda. And when they mentioned it, I pictured my mother reacting in a negative way to the possibility of a different form of energy used to cooking matoke. Why? Because there's a whole tradition, and this mindset is passed on from generation to generation. And so if you don't do that matoke on a sigiri with charcoal, it's not going to be regarded of you as a Muganda girl. I think those of you that are Baganda here can relate to that. You'll be regarded as one who's being disobedient to the culture and the customs around cooking some of these staple foods. So I pictured that conversation in my mind with my mother trying to tell her, Mommy, there's renewable energy forms that we can use and still give you the exact matoke with the exact temperature and the kind of steam and how soft you want it. So that calls for sensitization in all of this. Much as in the room, we do have the professionals, the academia, the industry, the sector players, but when it comes to grassroots level of understanding renewable energy, its efficiency and its beneficiaries, you get to have that conversation on a different scale. But nevertheless, we continue on with the program. Now, next on our agenda, we're going to be having the opening ceremony. This is the third annual Renewable Energy Conference, and it's being organized through the National Renewable Energy Platform, and it's bringing together thousands of stakeholders from academia. We do have stakeholders from industry. You do have the government that is represented here, development partners. We also do have civil society organizations and the general public. The purpose of all of us being in one room for these 3 days is that we want to share experiences. We want to share lessons learned and also best practices, as well as approaches that can be used to tackle the energy sector challenges and also to foster renewable energy and energy efficiency adoption here in Uganda. As the panel discussion has rightly put us in the place of 2024, giving us the perspective of renewable energy and its usage in the year 2024. Now, our next session is going to be chaired by Honorable David Mijereko. As he comes, we are having social media engagements. Some members are not here in the room. They're joining us via live links. And so the hashtags to be a part of our social media or online presence, we do have green energy. The other hashtag we're using is energy transition. And the other hashtag that you can use to trust the conversations in the room is REC23. We are also having the tags that you are wearing. I'm pretty sure each one of you in the room is having this tag. Now, this tag has a barcode, and this barcode gives you access to the program, renewable energy. So we're saving you the energy of carrying around paperwork, looking for the papers, and so you can get the program with that barcode scan. Our official partners, we want to say a special thank you to the British High Commission. We also want to say a special thank you to the German government. Equally, a special thank you to Total Energies and Total Energies EP Uganda. But the energy sector is wide and big. So we do have other partners and sponsors that have been a part of this conference as it kicks off today. We do have UECCC, we do have WWF, Energy Catalyst is also a part of the sponsorships, European Union, we do have MEX, KFW, UNCDF, GOGLA, we do have IUDA, we also do have the partnership and sponsorship of SNV, CARE, FAO, UNOC, and of course we do have NEFCO, and finally the Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Honorable Mitereko.
Honorable Minister, Permanent Secretary, Your Excellencies, and dear participants, I've been consulting with the Master of Ceremonies here who sounds really experienced that there are people I should invite to the fore here, and I think, Honorable Minister, you take the lead. Honorable Minister, you take the lead, taking up a position here, followed by your peers who is seated next to you, followed by Mr. Felipe from Total Energies, the EU delegate, and the British High Commissioner, I'm informed, will be sending us a video recording. I don't know whether anybody needs seats up here in her place, but and that's it. You take center stage, Honorable Minister. Yes. Honorable Minister and other ministers present and members of Parliament, Your Excellencies, ambassadors, high commissioners and heads of missions, captains of industries, captains of academic institutions, private sector, the various participants from within Uganda and from outside, the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you formally to this very, very important conference that we have been invited to attend this morning, the Renewable Energy Conference and Expo 2023. You are most welcome to Munyonyo, Commonwealth grounds. You are also most welcome to Uganda, particularly those of you who have come to Uganda for the first time. I hope your stay will not only be restricted to Munyonyo. We have so many places of interest, both during the day and at night. So please make sure that you look at your program and you create time for all these places, and so that you can be in a position to have the experience to talk about when you finally get back home. Thank you. You're most welcome. This is a 3-day conference, and it is running under the theme, Clean Energy, Future for All. Fortunately, as we hold the opening session, very interesting and guiding remarks have already been stated, and we have all listened into them. Together, we must try to urgently provide affordable energy access solutions and interventions to millions of people without electricity for productive use, service provision, lighting, or clean cooking, while sustainably increasing the share of renewables in the energy mix. I was listening intently to the remarks of the Egyptian ambassador. It's the first time that I didn't hear hydro being mentioned, but it is still, whatever you say, it is still part of the energy mix, and it must be balanced. And as we shall hear from the different speakers and the experts, this transition ought to take advantage of all local resources, be expeditious, and I'm re-emphasizing be expeditious, just and equitable, because I've heard everybody talking about just and equitable, but without us moving very fast with a sense of urgency, we miss out on many points. We all need to process and add value to our primary products, earn more revenue, both as individuals and as government, from whatever we are doing with energy. Improve our lives, that is why we're emphasizing clean energy, and sustainably transform our lives and countries. I'm aware that for Uganda, our approach has been to pursue an integrated approach for the energy transition, where we utilize all our energy resources, including our biofuels, hydro, extractive, and petroleum resources. However, we need to agree, and I'm emphasizing this one, we need to agree to enhance the pace of implementation of the programs and interventions so that there is a sense of urgency in terms of obtaining what is realized on the ground. Normally when I come for conferences like this one, I hear excellent papers. After 6 months or 1 year, we listen to the same excellent papers. When we carry out an audit of what is on the ground, the sense of urgency in terms of implementation of those wonderful papers disappears. Let me hope that this conference will make a difference. REC 23, REC 23, which is organized by your ministry, Dr. Ruth Nankabirwa, and your peers through the National Renewable Energy Platform, is bringing together over 2,000 participants from 4 continents and 33 countries. The MC, I think, has already alluded to this. To find appropriate solutions to the emerging challenges of climate change. I think there's nothing more disturbing today than climate change. It never used to be an issue, but now it's a real issue, and we must find scientific solutions to the same. Over the 3 days, we anticipate to have a rich and aligned discussion around the opportunities, how to tap into these opportunities, how to overcome the challenges, but in an expeditious manner, so that solutions can honestly be put on the ground. And in our view, after you people have listened, you'll be in a position to come up with an enrichment of what we need to do in order to be in a position to move forward, particularly when it comes to realizing targeted results. And I'm emphasizing targeted deliberately, so that when we move to the next conference next year, and you come here, you'll be in a position not only to discuss excellent ideas and scientific papers, but be in a position to say that within 1 year, we have been able to achieve so many connections, we have been able to increase on production to this level, the revenue earnings as a result of the extensions have moved up by this percentage. Honorable Minister, distinguished participants, to kickstart us off with this opening session will be the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Energy, Engineer Irene Batebe, who together with her technical teams has done a tremendous and commendable job in organizing this landmark conference. I also would like to take this opportunity to thank you, Honorable Minister, and your colleagues for giving appropriate policy direction such that the technical people and all of us here can be in a position to get what we are seeing here, and also be in a position to have a very clear projection of what is likely to follow, particularly as I know you always follow the NRM manifesto. It gives us good guidance, and I'm sure all of us here will be major beneficiaries of what we are listening to at this conference. Lastly, before I can sit down, I must thank the sponsors of this conference. My colleague, the MC, the young lady, has been in a position to mention quite a good number of them. I run into a lot of problems when I miss out some of them, because I can see the sponsors are many, the contributors are many, the resource persons are many, the participants are many. And without any of those groups, you will not have the landmark conference that we are talking about. Thank you very much. Kindly give them a round of applause. And now I would like to invite the Permanent Secretary to come forward and address us. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Director. I'll start with the protocols. The Honorable Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, the Honorable Dr. Ruth Nankabira Sentamu, Your Excellencies, the ambassadors and heads of missions and agencies, members of Parliament. I've seen the Honorable Shatsi Musherure, you're very welcome. The Honorable Daudi Migereko, he's also the board chairperson of the Uganda Tourism Board. Of course, Professor Lawrence Muganga, our Vice Chancellor from Victoria Universities, our officials from the different governments, central and local government, but also our special guests and all our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to you all and welcome to Kampala. On behalf of the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, I am honored to welcome you to this conference. This particular speech is largely to welcome you, and later on the Minister will give the keynote address. For the guests that have traveled into Uganda, I hope you had pleasant journeys, and we hope some of you came aboard Uganda Airlines, our national airline. We are delighted to host you next to the Lake Victoria. I hope you'll get an opportunity to stand at the beach and just enjoy one of the largest lakes, not only in Africa, but in the world. We compete with Canada. So we hope that you will enjoy your stay in Kampala, but also you'll enjoy this conference. The Renewable Energy Conference is in its second year running, and it's part of a broader Energy and Minerals Week that we organize as the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development under the stewardship of the Honorable Minister. And for this conference, we have received a large turn-up, and we want to thank you very much, but also thank our development partners, the private sector we are working with, and others. Of course, as we start the conference, it's important to highlight some of the key activities and sessions we'll be having. This conference has grown and is now more inclusive. We have put together specific engagements for special interest groups, youth, women, cultural and religious leaders. We'll even have a panel later on tomorrow where we'll have the religious leaders discussing a clean energy transition, because we believe that religious leaders have an avenue, their platform, which is the churches, the mosques, and other prayer centers. That is a large population that we must reach out to if we are to transit. The civil society that is represented here in the private sector, this conference has been tailor-made to ensure you can network and engage at every level. So I really want to thank the team from the Ministry of Energy that has broadened the scope of this conference. We shall see a number of sessions. Even as we speak right now, we have a young people's session, teenagers, because we believe teenagers are our future. We believe in succession planning as the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development. We must hand over the baton to these young people. So let us speak to them, let us encourage them, because they will be the agents of this clean energy transition. Why do we have them? As a country, we've just concluded our energy policy. We've set our targets for 2040 at 52,000 megawatts. By 2040, those of us who are in the fourth generation and above, some of us will probably be on a walking stick. So it's important that those that are coming after us start listening in to these conversations. So as a sector, we continue to focus on aspects of generation, transmission, and distribution, and the Minister will highlight those. And we continue to address aspects of the energy transition, climate change, energy access, where today we report 57% access rates as a country, with a target to achieve universal access by 2030. Ambitious, with quite a significant financing required. On the access side alone, distribution and last mile, we need about $5 billion to achieve that target for universal access. So financing will be key. Then we continue to tackle aspects of affordability, among others. From the earlier panel, we did note, and we're emphasizing the need to put in place a robust policy, legal, and institutional framework, which the Minister will emphasize later on. We do have a number of barriers that continue to inhibit or slow down our clean energy transition, and we continue to address them. We do need to continue mobilizing patient and affordable financing, and we believe in the next 2 or 3 days we'll be able to continue on this effort. It's good listening in from the Norwegian government, but also the EU and all our partners, that we will continue working together to avail such financing. Remember, like the Egyptian ambassador said, renewable energy is our independence. We continue to address technical capacity gaps, not just within the government, but also supporting private sector to ensure that we are able to have technicians, artisanals, those who will repair solar systems. In some places, the solar system goes down and you must call a technician from far away. So we want to ensure that we are able to even address simple things like repairing solar systems in a timely manner. As the Ministry of Energy, we continue to work on strengthening our electricity grid to make it smart, deploying digital solutions to ensure we can continue to cater for our customers. There's a lot we are doing in the bioenergy space. We've just released regulations on biofuels to support deployment of biofuels as part of this energy transition. Clean cooking, we do have an entire program for this, working with our different partners, where we continue to work on clean cooking interventions, the role of liquefied petroleum gas in this transition, and many others. So working with our strategic partners and all stakeholders, as the Ministry of Energy and therefore the government, we remain strongly committed to support the private sector, but also our development partners, to ensure that together we continue to invest in the renewable energy space. We continue to remove barriers and ensure that the private sector can invest, and in a timely manner, just as emphasized by the Honorable Migereko, in terms of the targets that we've set. So as I prepare to conclude, I want to add my voice and thank all the teams that have put this together, but specifically the National Renewable Energy Platform Secretariat. This is a platform that pulls together a number of our partners so that we continue to catalyze deployment of renewable energy. Our sponsors already elaborated. The banners are all over the place. We want to thank you for your continuous support at every year. This is our 19th year running of the Energy and Mineral Week, where the Renewable Energy Conference falls. So we thank you for supporting us for 19 years unceasingly. And thank you, and would not have done this without your support. Finally, I would like to thank our Honorable Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, the Honorable Ruth Nankabira, for the stewardship and leadership that she continues to give to the ministry, and that's why we can have a vibrant conference. So with that, I want to thank you and welcome you to Uganda. Karibu sana. Asante.
To the Permanent Secretary for highly enlightening opening remarks. I think the next person we are having next is Mr. Felipe from Total Energies. Honourable Minister, I just want to say one thing before he comes. When I informed my people that I'm chairing the opening session where you are present and where Mr. Felipe of Total Energies is, said, oh, this is the opportunity for you to talk about ethanol blending with petroleum products because it's a biofuel. And they said, if only you could come back with a clear program of where to deliver our ethanol in Jinja, your attendance at that conference will be remembered for years to come. Mr. Felipe, if you can redeem my name and image so that when I go back, I can have something to report. The podium is yours, sir.
Yes. Thank you. Honorable Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, Permanent Secretary, Head of Diplomatic Mission, Country Aid and Development Institution present today, representative of government entities and companies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed, I am very pleased to be here again this year as one of the main sponsors and speakers of this important conference on renewable. To provide cleaner, affordable, and sufficient energy in quantity for everyone is the essence of our mission as an energy company. In that respect, we invest between $4 to $5 billion per year in electricity and renewable. We are active everywhere on the planet where we think we can make a difference. And of course, it starts by being active in the country where we are already present. To share with you just a few examples, we have been recently very active in India India is facing a huge challenge with an energy base mainly on coal, and we have been very active in India to support them to transition from coal to gas and to develop large capacity of renewable. I would like to share with you also an important project that we developed together with our partner Seagreen in UK, where we just recently commissioned the world's largest offshore wind farm of more than 1 gigawatt. And I could continue like that for hours. But I'm sure you will ask me, but what about Uganda? What you are doing about Uganda, what you have done since last year in Uganda. What has changed? Last year, we were a shareholder of a company called RN, who has developed the first solar plant grid connected in Uganda, in Soroti. And this year, at the moment I'm talking to you, we have fully integrated this company in Total Energy. We are 100% owner of this company, which means the people operating this solar plant are now Total Energy's people. Immediately, we started to study the expansion of Soroti solar plant, coupled with the installation of large capacity batteries to address the issue of intermittency. And we will come back to the ministry very soon with some proposals around that. I just want to remind you that all that we signed last year, a memorandum of understanding with the ministry to develop 1 gigawatt of renewable energy in Uganda by 2030. And we have been working since then on trying to deliver this objective. What have we done? We have done a feasibility study on six times 20 megawatt project, possible project, associated to industrial park across the country together with the ministry. And we are currently completing these studies, and we will come back to the ministry by end of Q1 next year with some concrete project proposals. This ambition of developing 1 gigawatt by 2030 is mainly based on the development of large solar PV plant, together with also some medium-sized hydro power plant. On hydro, we have been active to screen all project opportunities that we see in the country, and we do expect to materialize project in 2024 in hydro that will contribute to delivering 1 gigawatt of renewable by 2030. The development of renewable should be associated to electrification. And electrification means transmission, ability to transport electricity from where it is produced to where are the main consumers. And on this respect, I would like really to congratulate the Ministry of Energy on the effort made on the transmission line in the country, across the country. This effort has to be pursued until we get a robust transmission backbone to supply reliable power from where it is produced to the main consumer. What about what we are doing at our perimeter? And I will talk about our project, the Tilenga project, which is an important transformative project for the country. We are working hard to deliver oil by 2025. But embedded in the project, we included a 15 megawatt first phase of 15 megawatt solar plant that you will be able to see when you go there at startup to minimize the use of gas oil during the commissioning phase, the startup phase, and during the operation of these facilities. And this is only a first phase. We have projects to further develop up to 200 megawatt of solar energy inside the perimeter of our plant. What about downstream activity? I'm sure most of you know Total Energy through our more than 200 service stations across the country. And if you look carefully, you will see some changes in most of these stations. We already solarize more than 100 of them. You will see solar panels everywhere on the roof of this station. Look carefully, and you will see that. You will see that. The remaining one will follow in 2024. There has been a question on what do we do on biofuel. First, we thank the ministry again to have put in place all the regulation that will enable us now to really work and develop and provide biofuel in the country. It will start with bioethanol, where we have already identified suppliers and where we will develop infrastructure with a specialized storage. And we ambition to be able to commercialize bioethanol before end of 2024. For biodiesel, it will take a bit more time, and biodiesel we could be put on the market in 2025. In all these stations, for all these stations, we have a completely re-engineered a new product, new home solar product that will be available and sold in our service station, completely different from the previous one. We have looked at how we could engineer more reliable, long-lasting, and high-quality product while maintaining the price as low as possible. And you will see the result is amazing. It's completely different from the previous version of the product. And we expect to sell more than 80,000 of them per year, contributing to provide a solution for people who cannot be connected to the grid and with a limited purchasing power. E-mobility. E-mobility will be key in all the discussions that we will have on this during these 3 days. And e-mobility is mainly for Kampala, starting from the big cities. You will see in one of our booths, an example of an electrical charging point, a station, that we plan to install at least in 30 of our stations. And to decide where, of course, you may have seen in the press that we launched more than 1 month ago what we call a hackathon. So with all the bright young IT talents of the country, we ask them to study and to help us to decide where to put, could be the best location to install this charging station. And they came with really bright ideas, and it will help us really to make our decision. Of course, we also use all the coverage of our service station to provide battery swapping opportunities for Boda Boda, electric Boda Boda, and develop specific charging station also for Boda Boda. So all this is moving. We cannot move alone, but we should move all together to promote e-mobility and develop e-mobility. Just I'm nearly at the conclusion. I cannot not to speak about LPG. Because our project, associated to the oil that we start to produce by end of 25, will produce significant quantity of LPG, more than 5 times what is the current consumption of the country, which is today 100% imported from international markets through Kenya. So it's a unique opportunity to substitute the use of charcoal and biomass and to use LPG not as a perfect solution on the long term, but at least on the transition energy, which is much better than the current use of charcoal. And we are working together with the Ministry of Energy to find, or to define, all the business model to make sure LPG will be able to penetrate this market and substitute to biomass. I just want to end with the story of Professor Lawrence, because without any doubt, we are convinced that this project will benefit to all the local communities living in the area of our operation. I'm talking about the oil development project. And we have no doubt that prosperity will come, and with associated to the work, and we'll see all the industrial development that is already currently happening. But we are seeing as well all these children moving along the road to go to school and coming back home quite late without having any light at home. And we decided that we cannot wait to see the economic development and economic empowerment to do something. And we are currently, together with the World Vision International, distributing a home solar system to all the primary schools of Noya and Bulisa district. To make sure
Smart 24, driving business.
Cooking oil like no other makes your meal so sweet and scrumptious. The taste of Uganda, yeah, the taste of Uganda, the taste of Uganda.
Era tutukanga omuntu nti ni gasita ndala mukaaga 5 sita isatu ash onige yes
nga bakubuza
macha nga bamubuza macha code nga tumukuba ata mu 7 bino ndibita olumalirizawo ngata amwe sente dali kuwayo kumbaga ya mwenemu sawa yeneyo nga kyabazinga amwebaza nga tweyongere kai tujja mu kyalo ekindi
ekikoba embaga olunawa luti nga mwira
tulija kumala kai tweyongere emyezi mukaaga nga tukasomesa abantu momope
baba embaga ya mwenemu eriyo nga 18 kai emyezi omukaaga gyoli kwongeramu ojaji
oyidine ebya momope abantu yembite yona bandeta momo ono ne bibali kumpaka ne bya momope abidi tyama kupikipiki ojo bisomese
muleke musoniwe tyamaja
baba tuka bulungi
simbule embalasi asumulude
momo nyabo.
Pay or shop with MTN Momo and get cashback every week. It's free of charge. Use the Momo app or dial *165*3#.
Has made significant investments in solar energy infrastructure and has emerged as a global leader in this field. It boasts 3 of the world's largest solar installations, including Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Solar Park in Dubai, which is
amaanyi okulabibwa n'okuwulirwa mu mawanga ag'ewala ennyo okutuuka buli wamu nga yadde togenzeeyo ensi yonna ng'ekuli mu ngalo okutambula mu biseera n'okumanya buli kimu ekirina okumanyibwa Jovia kino kye kirabo kyange gy'oli
tewali kumoko ki gy'osobola okola ku mukutu nnandameggwa ogwa MTN.
The United Arab Emirates has indeed been actively championing its efforts towards a clean energy transition with ambitious goals aimed at producing 100% green energy by 2050. Here are some of the key points highlighting the UAE's commitment to clean energy. The UAE has made significant investments in solar energy infrastructure and has emerged as a global leader in this field. It boasts 3 of the world's largest solar installations, including Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Solar Park in Dubai, which is the largest single
Several UK companies here this week are investing heavily in renewables, like Mandulis Energy, or Nexus Green, or MEX, or Innovate, and they're all here present and willing to share their experiences here in the UK booth. So for today and the rest of the week, we are really coming together to discuss the prospects from various stakeholders on innovative technologies in renewables to make connections, to build networks, and together to learn, to share, and to grow. I really wish that you all have an excellent conference. And again, I'm sorry I can't be there in person. Thank you. Honourable Ministers present, fellow Excellencies from the diplomatic missions, Members of Parliament, Permanent Secretaries, Representatives.
A kindly clap for her. That was a wonderful message. Moving together in partnership. I think that was the message. And I know the Minister will have said something about that so that we can clearly be major beneficiaries of this partnership. But I think the other important message is what we need to do to ensure readiness to embrace change, particularly on the technology front. I'm sure many of us, this thing of Matoke has repeatedly come up. I think somebody who understands Matoke better than I do will have to help us. But accepting new technology and embracing it is one of the critical things that we must focus on if we are going to be in a position to take advantage of the growth in the extension of electricity in different parts of the country. I think we have had very good submissions so far, and now we are lucky. We have our Minister of Energy, Minerals, Honorable Dr. She used to be Minister of Defense for a long time, and she had acquired the title of General. I don't know, you no longer use it. Honorable Dr. Ruth Nankabira Sentamu, it's now my pleasure to invite you to come forward and address the conference participants. I thank you.
Your Excellency, the ambassadors, I am sorry I have to repeat protocol because this is how I am trained. My colleagues, ministers and members of parliament, the heads of executives from different organizations, we have district leadership present, we have officials from central and local government. We are blessed to have the religious and cultural leaders, our colleagues from the Fourth Estate, and all of you delegates. Good morning to you. Shalom, shkamo, assalamu alaikum, bonjour. And I would like to say that I'm going to give my speech on a screen which is behind. And I'd like to request all of you to stand up and face the screen behind. Please stand up. Please stand up. My screen is up there. Are you seeing the screen? If you are not seeing it, you must be somebody who is still using dirty fuel. Please stretch and look at the screen. Oh, okay, face me. Yes. We've been seated for a long time since morning. I think we are supposed to stretch to avoid clothes and all that. It's my great honor and pleasure to be here today to address you. And I must tell you that my energy has been renewed when I entered in this room and I looked at the kind of participants in this room. I felt my energy being renewed. And I want to sincerely thank you so much for having turned up. And I want to thank the team that has organized this meeting. We commenced this week by commissioning the Energy and Minerals Week at Akamwesi in Chevando. And there was a big exhibition which is still taking place. And the kind of exhibition that I saw was amazing. It was answering to what all the speakers have been talking about this morning. The ethanol, I witnessed the cooking stoves using ethanol. I witnessed all kinds of energy-saving, gadgets being exhibited. And I was, again, encouraged. So I want to thank you so much. I joined the previous speakers in extending a warm welcome to all of you, our distinguished guests, both from within Uganda and those from different parts of the world. My permanent secretary, together with my brother, Honorable Migereko, invited you to have a longer stay, and enjoy the Pearl of Africa. I must apologize for the noises and the activities that are taking place in this place. We are trying to organize this place for a very huge international conference, which will take place here in January, the Non-Aligned Movement. It's a huge conference, so it will be here, and it was necessary that the owners of this place do a makeshift so that we can take care of our guests who are coming. So apologies for the noise and the congestion in this place. Our presence here is a testimony to our shared commitment towards shaping a sustainable and clean energy future for all. The theme of the conference reflects our collective responsibility to address the energy challenges that confront not only Uganda, but also the rest of the world, and indeed humanity. The benefits of clean energy future extend far beyond environmental considerations. They encompass green economic growth, job creation, improved access to energy for all our citizens, and better quality of life. Indeed, as Honorable Daudi Migereko rightly highlighted, for us as Uganda and indeed Africa, we would like to have a unified approach and message. The need for a just and equitable energy transition is urgent. And by investing in the clean and renewable energy, but also currently integrating that our other energy resources, we not only reduce our carbon emissions, but also empower communities, particularly in rural and underserved areas, with the tools for a better quality of life. I came in when Professor Lawrence Muganga was summarizing his message, and he left us a homework or an assignment. And I want to agree with him that each one of us has a role to play. Each one of us has a role to play. We have made noise, and we shall continue to make noise, make noise, make noise. But each one of us has a role to play. And I would like to add my voice to those who are encouraging us to make sure that we fight the stigma and transit. You heard the PS deliberately talk about the inclusion of cultural, religious leaders, panel, the youth. It's because some of the bondages, that are keeping us from using dirty fuel, especially in cooking, has a bearing on our cultural behavior. So if we can cut the bondages, the cultural bondages, and believe that you can cook matoke using an electric cooker, you will still get the same. So look back and see what you can do in order to achieve the transition that we want. You might also agree with me that for the developing countries, the biggest threat to environmental protection and saving our emission sinks is ending poverty in all its forms. I don't know whether there is a rich man who would prefer to use kerosene for lighting, but is rich. Who would prefer to stay in darkness without security lights because government has not extended the national grid to his area, so he's waiting for government. I don't know whether there is any rich person who has a premise to guard and that will wait for the police, government police, to guard his factory. I don't know. Before you talk about energy poverty, you have to talk about poverty in its definition. Create avenues for people to get money. They will be able to become energy lords, L-O-R-D, like your landlords. You can be an energy lord because the sun is there for you to tap and create your own grid in your premises without waiting for government. So the world must, first and foremost, focus on making sure that countries develop. If Uganda is looking at her petroleum products to make sure that we exploit the natural resources, the minerals, the oil that we have underneath, we are looking for money to invest in infrastructure that will create jobs for people so that they can get money. That will trust them in fighting energy poverty. So the focus has to be on that. How can Africa develop? How can Africa access affordable finances to invest into modernization of agriculture so that we see a reduction of our population who are in subsistence farming? There is no rich person who can wait for government to bring the connectivity in his village where he has capacity to do solar panels. And this country removed taxes from solar panels, by the way, so that they are affordable. So that's where I am coming from. Therefore, as we gather here over the next 3 days, let us engage in critical discussion, widen the scope, share innovative ideas and agree to collaborate on strategies that will propel us towards a future where clean energy is accessible to all and pragmatically appreciate actions towards the urgent need for transition. In addition, this conference is happening just weeks away from COP28, which is going to take place in Dubai. Uganda will be there. We shall have a pavilion. We will showcase what we have done together with the support of our partners, many of whom are in the room. We will be there. And I therefore hope that the conference, in part, will be a platform to exchange knowledge, take stock, foster partnerships, and inspire concepts for our unified message, which my brother Daudi Migereko was talking about, and driving the transition to a more sustainable and inclusive energy landscape. Now that I have made my call to action, and my permanent secretary also spoke to a number of challenges for which, working with all of you, our partners and stakeholders, we shall address, and permit me therefore to highlight some of the efforts towards our ambition. Today, I am proud to say that Uganda has made significant strides in harnessing our clean energy sources to power our nation. Over 95% of our electricity supply is from renewables. However, due to factors like energy security, access, affordability, and sustainability, we are saying that let's develop all our resources through an integrated approach. Some sources are cheaper than others. So if we exploit all the possible sources of energy, on average, I believe that we shall reach the affordability point that we've been talking about. And beyond the policy, we have put in place a number of strategies to guide us towards achieving our energy and climate action goals. For example, we are targeting to increase our generation capacity from 2,000 megawatts to 52,000 megawatts by 2040. Isn't this the loudest noise we are making? We are making noise because we considered that if we are to switch on to e-mobility, if we are to modernize all our agriculture, and if we are to add value, and process our minerals in the country where all mining sites are electrified, we have smelting plants, we shall need 52,000 megawatts by 2040. And this is our dream. We have put it out. I will continue to make noise in cabinet so that I get the logistics that I need. I will continue to make noise in parliament so that my money is not diverted. I'm a very good noise maker, but this is the dream. And by doing that, we will see 50% from renewables and 40% will come from nuclear. And we are working with the International Atomic Energy Agency. We want nuclear for just using as energy, not to do the other things which are disturbing the world. We want nuclear. And our nuclear potential, by the way, is 24,000 megawatts. And we want to generate at least 1,000 megawatts from nuclear by 2031. We have geothermal, we have wind, we have hydro, we have solar. We are targeting to deliver clean energy for all by 2040, with at least 80% connected to the grid. And for Uganda, distributed renewables continue to play a role in our electricity supply system, supported by technology developments around the advanced mid-grids and smart grids. I want to thank the World Bank for the facility of $638 million US loan, which we are implementing. I presented to Cabinet on Monday, and I've been let go to begin the implementation of connection, the electricity connection policy that we have in place. This World Bank loan will see 1 million connections added on. And we are beginning. Everything is put in place. We are going to have free connection for those who already have the poles, so they will not require any pole. Even those who will require one pole to get connected, we are going to connect them using this facility. There are those poor people who are still using the dirty fuel for lighting and also cooking. They cannot wire their houses. We have a provision for ready boards. Place it there with the 2 sockets and bulbs, and it will light the house. At least you will have helped that person from using kerosene that emits the carbon and you would have contributed to the well-being of that family. So this is going to see an addition. And we are also progressively going to improve our electricity consumption per capita from about 215 kilowatt hour per capita existing today. I think I should be whispering because this is really a shame. But I think the average consumption per capita for the entire continent called Africa is about 518 kilowatt hour per capita. I must be saying this in whispering because it is a shame. But I am saying it such that we are appreciated when we are being fast-tracked into the transition. This indicates that we are not beginning from the same spot. And I always say that in this transition, we are with people who already have their boarding passes in their hands, but you are transiting with them and you are still looking for a passport. You don't even have a passport. You don't even have a visa. But you are being pushed to move together with people with passports and visas and boarding passes. What is 518 kilowatt hour per capita for Africa? What is 215 kilowatt hour per capita for Uganda? We are coming from darkness. So we need the urgency that Honorable Daudi Migereko was talking about. But if we appreciated the point I made that you can be your own energy lord, you can create your own mini grid, then this figure will move high because you will get access to clean energy supplied by God, supplied from the sun. We're also targeting to bring down distribution network losses at least to single digit, while at the same time improving distribution network availability to 95% by 2040. Our distribution network losses were again unbearable. Right now we are at 16%, but we are coming from 38%. It has been reduced to 16%. Our effort is at least to reduce it to single digit, at least 9%, 8%, 6%. Again, you can compare with what other countries have, like Korea. I think theirs is 2%. But we will reach there. We are targeting to gradually increase the population using clean cooking technologies and fuels to 50% by 2030, 75% by 2035, and at least 95% by 2040. And we are working to put in place an integrated clean cooking strategy. We are targeting to implement the National Biofuel Blending Program to achieve a mandatory blending ratio of at least 5% by 2040. And I will soon be announcing the intention to start with 1% kindly by force, 1% mandatory blending for petrol. Very soon I'll make an announcement because all the regulations are in place. I have received support, first from the technical team in the ministry. They have told me I am now an engineer. So I ably represent them. But also Parliament has been kind, that all the laws that my team presents have passed in Parliament without hard hassle. So I must thank the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker and the entire Parliament for the support that they have given this sector. And so my team, we have to make sure that we continue with the zeal and the energy that we have to make sure that all the required regulations are in place. So, Honorable Migereko, you've heard from my brother Felipe on the arrangements for the logistics, for the biofuels. We are doing well from upstream. Downstream needs some kind of organization, because we will just hear announcements and we shall begin implementing these announcements. Like you heard the President announce through an executive order, there is no cutting down of trees to burn charcoal or to use for firewood in northern Uganda. He was like, Mwetereze, get organized. I have placed the executive order, and now we are trying to make sure that we introduce LPG. What is the alternative? Yeah? The big man has already announced. So Minister of Energy will begin making such announcements, because the only way to begin on anything is to start. If you feed it around, you may not start. And I'm so impressed by the kind of technology that is coming up. We have a lot. In the shops in Uganda, we have a lot. Cooking facilities, we have a lot. Energy saving, what I saw in Chewando on Monday, it's amazing. And I will be requesting the Speaker to allow such an exhibition to take place at the Parliament of Uganda. Because there you would have touched every corner of the country, because every corner is represented by a member of Parliament. Let them see. Some of them are very generous. They will buy some and take to their constituencies. Let's make noise in that way. Let us make noise. So the blending will take place. Lastly, to effectively shape the sector to achieve our goals, the need for robust, forward-looking, and dynamic enabling environment cannot be overemphasized. I have a very robust team in the Ministry of Energy and the agencies that I work with. They work beyond the normal hours, and we are focused. And I'm proud of having such a team. We are focused, we are working as a team. Therefore, we remain committed to ensuring that we progressively address the gaps. And as you will have noted, the 3 days will provide a rich forum for presentations. We have introduced some groups because we know, like the PS told us, the youth forum, we have to move with everybody. The cultural leaders. We will keep expanding this renewable forum so that we synergize, so that we appreciate one another, so that we appreciate the need to change. Then we will work on the mindset change, and the stumbling blocks on the way to transition will have been moved away. If you don't do that, you will hear people stepping on you, stabbing you from the back. You are introducing something they have not appreciated. You will be like a soldier on parade who is marking time, on a parade. Not distance covered, but there is work done. Because the man is sweating. He's on parade, he's sweating, he's marking time, sweating. But in terms of distance, no distance covered. So we'll make sure that we involve everybody. It is my hope that these discussions and meetings will come up with concrete and pragmatic resolutions to guide us as we move forward. The government will continue developing and implementing appropriate policies, legal and institutional frameworks and reforms geared at improving sector efficiency, attracting investment and financing, and enhancing private sector and local content participation to reinforce Uganda's just and equitable transition, green growth, and inclusive development. Very soon we will be tabling the bill entitled Energy Efficiency and Conservation Bill to Parliament. I am soon tabling it to Cabinet after improving it. I tabled it in Cabinet, but there were some gaps. I'm told that my team is now ready, and this energy efficiency and conservation law is also another legal provision that is going to see us improve on our energy use. Efficiency is very, very, very critical, especially where you are saying that you don't have enough product. If you are not careful on how you are utilizing that product, then you end up losing. Distinguished participants, I am soon concluding. And as I conclude, I'd like to express my gratitude to all our partners and sponsors for your support in making this conference a reality. I entered and I looked at the attendance, and indeed, I was energized. Thank you so much. The sponsors have been mentioned, but for clarity and for emphasis, in appreciation, let me mention you. My dear Her Excellency, the British Ambassador, my friend and sister Kate, I want to thank her through you for the support and the love and the whipping. She calls me anytime to say, hey, here what is happening, and I enjoy that. Please take my regards to her. My brother, Total Energies Uganda, we meet anytime. Even yesterday we were in a critical meeting. I'm yet to hear how you concluded the afternoon meeting, because we were a meeting in the morning. We are working very well with Total Energies. We are working very well with CNOC. And on that angle, I can assure you that we are moving on seeing the journey to see the first oil in 2025, inshallah. The German government, through GIZ and KfW, thank you so much. I don't know how to say thank you in Germany, but thank you so much. The European Union delegates, thank you. I've had some battles with the EU Parliament when they moved that unfortunate resolution. I engaged with some of the MPs, Honorable Pierre. We are now at par. I am happy that I'm understood. And I want to sincerely appreciate the support, and I pledge that we will put in place all the legal policy requirements required of government so that we buttress the support that you are giving us. WAWAF, I call them WAWAF. the Worldwide Fund. We've been together in those international fora. You are also here supporting us. Our own Uganda Energy Credit Capitalization Company. I hope that people understand what this company offers. UECCC. UECCC is one of those agencies that we are going to work with in implementing the World Bank project that I talked about. And this deal mostly with renewables, enhancing SMEs to make sure that they access the renewable energy to help their businesses. We work with the UECCC to work with refugee camps. This is a government-owned, wholly owned company, and I am the majority shareholder in this company. I have to declare that 51%, together with Honorable Matia Kasaija, the Minister of Finance. Thank you so much. The board chair is a lady, Speciosa. I must mention that we have so many ladies in this sector. Don't be surprised when you see the speed at which we are moving. We have many ladies there. Permanent secretary, under secretary, board chairs, power board, you know, the CEO, Electricity Regulatory Authority, you know, the chairman, board, the era. I don't know, but it was deliberate by President Museveni in response to gender equality. Men, don't get scared. We are working it for you. And of course, Uganda National Oil Company, whose CEO is a lady. We've worked together. Thank you so much. Modern Energy Cooking Services makes. This is a UK government-supported program. I want to thank you again. United Nations Capital Development Fund, Global Off-Grid Energy Association, AYUDA in Akion, Uganda, the Food Agriculture Organization. We consider FAO as a strategic partner because if you are in charge of organizing food, energy is very critical in making sure that you improve on production and productivity, value addition and marketing. So FAO, we are together. SNV, this is the Netherlands Development Organization. In many areas, you've helped us. Allow me also to thank our friends from the media. Media has covered this docket positively, sometimes, but we appreciate. Thank you so much. Please tell our people we are making noise through you to tell our people to break the bondage of dirty energy. We appreciate you. And I want to thank the support of everybody. And I also thank the technical teams, including the National Renewable Energy Platforms. You are very present in Chebando. Your efforts are being recognized even in this very conference. To our distinguished guests from outside Uganda, Karibun. We welcome you once again. This is your second home. We look forward to hosting you again and again and again. Be sure to stay some days and enjoy the Pearl of Africa. Together, let us chart a course towards a clean energy future for all, leaving a legacy that transcends borders and generations. Team members, are you in the room? Where are you, team members? Team Minister of Energy and Mineral Development, thank you so much. Some are outside taking care of you. Let's stick together, achieve our vision. Remember, we don't have time. Thank you. I want to take this opportunity to declare the conference open and wish you all a productive and inspiring conference. Asante sana. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause to the Minister. I think I must thank all of you for being so attentive as some of these major pronouncements were being made. All I can say is that I request the media to give us as much coverage as possible, because this message needs to reach out to a much wider audience than we have been able to assemble here today. For those who are coming to Uganda, Uganda is really standing out as a major destination for meetings and conferences. When you go back and you want to organize a very successful meeting or conference, please consider Uganda as a possible venue. We shall lend you all the support. And Honourable Minister, next time when you hold a meeting of this nature, we shall have screens everywhere so that you don't have to turn your back to follow what is behind you. Because I could see we had a small challenge. We should have had screens even in this direction so that those who are at a vantage point are not only those who are on your side, but even those who are out here on the platform. Things are going to change for the better, because that's the direction we are moving into. Our next session is a photo session. A photo session for the various groups that are here. There is a young lady, please. She has been doing so well as MC, and I'm sure you guys have been missing out on her. I would like her to take over her role once again so that you give us proper direction. Honourable Minister, you were announcing who is in charge of what, who is everywhere. I know it is over-representation of ladies. She's again taking over as MC, but we wouldn't mind some affirmative action for the boys and men. Thank you very much.
And the boy child clapped to that. Well, thank you so much, Honorable Mijereko. And now, just to re-echo that our tags here do have the program, and so you can be able to scan and get a copy of that program, because it's then going to guide what next. As we speak right now, we're going to be having our dignitaries taking a photo, and that photo is going to be at the photo booth, which is by the poolside, right below this particular hall. When you walk outside, there's a poolside, and that's where it's going to be. And so I am requesting Engineer Simon Karanzi, Commissioner Energy Efficiency, as well as Dr. Brian Isabile, to guide our VIPs to the photo booth, and then thereafter they will have a tea break for about 10 minutes, and then they will continue. We're going to be having a closed-door donor working group meeting, and it's going to still be at the VIP lounge with the invited guests to that particular closed-door meeting. It's about sustainable energy development program. And then for the rest of our participants, we are going to have a small tea break, about 10 minutes. And we are encouraging you to actually just speak your tea and walk into your breakout session. Now, the breakout sessions that we're looking at next, we're going to be doing the mid-morning sessions. On your program, look out for the mid-morning sessions. Those are the ones that we're going to be attending for about 45 minutes, and then we will break from those and go into our midday sessions. And then thereafter, we'll be having an exhibition tour at exactly 1:30, and lunch will equally be ready for you between 1:30 and 2:30. So the mid-morning sessions in parallel that we're looking at, we are having one, delivering clean energy at a time of global crisis, energy security and climate change, and this one is going to be chaired here in the Speak Ballroom, which is this one, and it's going to be chaired by Honorable Shatsi Musherure. Then we also do have another breakout session that is happening in Jacaranda Hall, which is still on this very same block, one of the floors below. Look for Jacaranda Hall if you are interested in a spotlight on the future parish development model and productive use of energy. That is happening in Jacaranda, being chaired by Ruth Komuntale, Managing Director, ECOCA East Africa. Then there's also another breakout session in Ebony Hall. If you are interested in green jobs, readiness, opportunities, as well as bottlenecks in the energy transmission, then you can go to Ebony Hall. It's going to be chaired by Perez Magola, Energy Advisor, Open Capital. And of course, we do have another one happening in Acacia Hall. If you are interested in a session towards new energy systems and technologies, as has been one of the things that has been greatly pointed out so far in the day, then you can go to Acacia Hall. That will be chaired by Dr. John Mutenyo, lecturer at Makerere University. And then the final breakout session is going to be taking place in Mahogany Hall, and it's going to be looking at decarbonizing mobility in developing countries, chaired by Mary Nankabira, Commissioner Solicitor General as well. And so please go to those breakout sessions. Our tea is being served at the bottom of the building. That is the ground floor to the left where you do have the exhibition. So just take the left, pick your tea and your bites, and then let's walk to those breakout sessions. Thank you very much. So at the end of that breakout session, you'd have attended in any of those halls. The second breakout session, you can get the details to which you would be interested in by scanning the program with the barcode that is on your tag, so that you can be able to know the other breakout sessions that we are having on the second round. Otherwise, look for the screen behind you, stretch a little bit, and get to exchange energy, but also let's refuel up on the energy. The tea break is at the ground floor, left side of the exhibition area, and we kindly encourage you to simply pick your tea and your bite and walk to the breakout sessions. The breakout sessions, we have one that is staying here in Speak Ballroom, we have another one in Jacaranda Hall, we have another one in Ebony, and another one in Acacia, and also a final one in Mahogany. That will be 45 minutes, and then at about 12:50, we should be getting into the second breakout sessions for the day. Thereafter, lunch will be ready for you at 1:30. Our distinguished guests, our dignitaries, we ask you to move to the VIP lounge by the poolside. For a photo session, a small tea break, and then the closed door engagement. Thank you very much.
Smart 24, driving business.